This is Unit 12, Statistics. This is Dispersion section, and this is video number 3 of the Dispersion. I think in the last video I said I was going to do the worksheet that said Dispersion 4, but Dispersion 4 is just a continuation of Dispersion 3. So we're going to start right up with Dispersion 5, which handles something a little bit different, and we're going to include Dispersion 6 in this video. The questions in this section seem to be a little more tricky for students. Don't overthink them or think that you have more information than you do. This becomes extremely critical after you complete the normal distribution section because some types of statistics will be considered to be normally distributed. But if you do not see the words normal in the problem, you cannot treat it as normal, and you will be coming back to these methods. So be sure that you are following the correct method and only use normal procedures when you see normal. And I'll talk about that again in the normal sections. In this video, we're going to look at these two questions here in Dispersion 5 and some of the questions, Dispersion 6 ones. So number 1 says 6 golfers had the following scores for 9 holes of golf. Find the standard deviation of these scores to the nearest tenth and how many scores are within one standard deviation of the mean. So we have 6 golfers, and we're going to assume that this is our population because we are not going to assume that there are more than 6 golfers. We have no indication saying that this was a sample. And I've already entered them into my Inspired spreadsheet. Oh, where'd the data go? And here we go, sorry. I've already entered in the 6 pieces of data. So as you recall, after you title it, you type in your information, never typing in the equal sign. We go over to our calculator and we do menu, statistics, stat calculations. Oops, somehow we got the wrong thing here. Menu, statistics. Well, what's going on? Sorry, guys. Menu, statistics, stat calculations, and we're going to do one variable, statistics. We only have one list. I have another list in here, but we're going to do the one that's called data. We only have one frequency for each. So we said OK, and we get our population standard deviation to be 3.83. So let's come back over to our document and put that in. I know that sigma, which is here somewhere, okay, is going to move this over here. Sigma equals 3.83. So we also need to know what is the mean. So let me get the symbol for mean. And mu, or x bar, but we're going to use mu in this case because I don't have an x bar symbol. And we are going to go back to the calculator and find out that the mean x bar is 43. So that means the next question is how many scores are within one standard deviation of the mean? So that means I could take 43 and add 3.82, and we get 46.82. And then we could do 43 minus 3.82, and that gives us 39.08. So the question is how many pieces of information are between these two numbers? So let's look. So is 38 in between them? Nope, not 38, not 38 again. Yes to 43, yes to 45, yes, 46 is less than this number, but 48 is not. So the question is, find the standard deviation to the nearest tenth. So we're going to have 3.8 to be our actual standard deviation. And how many scores score within one standard deviation of the mean? And that would be 3 scores. And you will see, probably been faster type. You will see that when you do this process, it's quick and easy once you've already done the 1 bar statistics. Now let's look at number 5. When you look at number 5 here, it says the average monthly high temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit for Binghamton, New York are given below. Find to the nearest tenth the population standard deviation and the number of months that score within one standard deviation of the mean. So let's do this again. I already have the information in. It's in my number 3. I've already entered in all 12 months of the year, just so you could see that I've done that. And then go to another screen, and this is calculator again. again, we're going to do one bar statistics, and we are going to use the list called temps. And if you recall, we are going to need the mean, which is 54.116, or 1667, sorry, and the standard deviation of 17.6486. So let's copy that down. I'm going to use, again, the mu symbol for mean since I don't have an X bar. That's what I use in statistics. And if you take statistics, you will get used to that notation. Most of the time, we just use the X bar that the calculator gives us. So 54.1667. And then our standard deviation is going to be 17.6486. Did I get that right? I did. Excellent. So now we need to figure out the population standard deviation to the nearest tenth. So we actually don't want this answer to be our final answer for sigma. We want to use the final answer to be 17.6. And then we're going to do our calculation of 54.1667, or we could go to the nearest tenth since the question's about nearest tenth. If you would like to round, I suggest you don't round. But for simplicity's sake of the video, not having to run to the calculator to do this, I'm not rounding. This is 61.8. And then 54.2 minus 17.6 is going to give me 36.6. So how many are within these two standard deviations? 28 is outside, 31 is outside, 41 is good, 53 is good, 68 is outside, 73 is outside, 78, 76, 68, 57, 44, and 33 is outside. So the answer is 4. So let's now move over to dispersion number 6. Now 5 continues on with all those similar types of questions. And 6 here says the very similar types of questions. Okay, 17 students, except now we have a frequency and a score. So we have two different things going on. And we're going to look carefully here how many scores again fall within one standard deviation of the mean. And we're going to go over to our Inspire document where I have this information. And we're going to get a new page so that we can run the calculations. And again, this is still a 1-bar calculation. So 6, 1, 1. And this time our X list is called score. But we want to use our frequency list to be called frequency. And you hit OK. And now we have our mean to be 156.412. So where's our thing? Here we go. We have 156.412 for our mean, and our standard deviation is for population is going to be 15.013. So when we look at this, we have our mean and our standard deviation. So to the nearest tenth, the population standard deviation is going to be 15.0. And it's important that you put that 0.0 in here. So we have sigma is equal to 15.0. And then how many scores fall within? So let's round to the nearest tenth again just to make our calculation easier. So we have 156.4 plus 15.0, which is going to give us 171.4. And then we have 156.4. Okay. And we're going to subtract the 15. And that is going to give us 141.4. So now we're looking for how many scores are within. So if we look for 145, 150s, 160s, and 170s are all within that range. But we're not just counting these scores, we're counting their frequency. So we have 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2, so that's going to mean 10. Okay, so when you're doing these, make sure you're looking at the frequency column to get the total and not just looking at the scores. This concludes our video on dispersions. If you have any further questions on dispersions, please send me an email so I know that I need to cover it in class. And this will conclude these videos. Our next topic is going to be on normal distributions.